Hey, scholars! Welcome to Mathora. I'm Miss B, and you'll be learning with me. Today, we're going to be understanding the coordinate plane. Let's get into it. So number one, what is the coordinate plane? Well, the coordinate plane is just two number lines that cross. We have the horizontal line called our x-axis, and we have the vertical line called our y-axis. And notice they meet at the point 0, 0, and that's called our origin. For every number line in the middle of the positive numbers to the right and the negative numbers to the left, there's 0, right? Also on the y-axis, instead of going left to right, we're going up and down. You still have to remember that there's a 0 in between the positive numbers that go up and the negative numbers that go down. And last but not least, it creates 4 quadrants. Now this is going to be important a little later on. Number 2, who created it and why? So if you despise the coordinate plane and it gives you anxiety every time you see it, well, you can blame René Descartes. René Descartes created the coordinate plane to use numbers to describe location. I'm actually a fan because this changed math forever. The coordinate plane exists so we can show relationships visually, turn equations into pictures, and model real life situations. So I think it's actually pretty cool. Number 3, how to use the coordinate plane. So this is where students mess up the most. Points are written in this order, x, comma, y. You can kind of think of it as whenever you say the alphabet, x comes before y, so there is no need to switch this order up. This is called an ordered pair because this is the order of a pair of numbers. Get it? Got it? Good. So always move left or right first because that is our x-axis, and our x-axis is the horizontal line that goes left or right. Then move up and down second. Why? Because y comes second and y is our vertical line and that goes up and down. So you're going to go across, then up, sometimes down, but never the other way around. So here are those quadrants I was talking about. Quadrants go counterclockwise. So you start at the top right and we have quadrant 1. Then you go to the left and you have quadrant 2. Then you go down, you have quadrant 3, and then you go to the right, you have quadrant 4. Now let me show you the significance of each quadrant. Okay, so boom. In quadrant 1, we see that our purple numbers are positive and we see that our pink numbers are positive as well. So purple is for the x-axis, pink is for the y-axis. So if you are given a point and both of the numbers are positive, you should know that your point should be plotted in quadrant 1. Let's move to the left of quadrant 2. We see our purple numbers here are negative and our pink numbers here are positive. So if you're giving a point that has a negative x value and a positive y value, you should know that your point should be in quadrant 2. You see where this is going at? Let's go down to quadrant 3. Here we have negative purple numbers and we have negative pink numbers. So if you're giving a plot that has a negative x and it has a negative y, you should know that your point should be plotted in quadrant 3. And last but not least, quadrant 4. Here we have positive purple numbers and negative pink numbers. So if you're giving a point that is a positive x and a negative y, you should know that you should be plotting your point in quadrant 4. So if you know the signs, you know the quadrants. If you know the quadrants, you know the signs. All right, cool. So you know everything you need to know to start plotting some points on the graph, okay? So let's try it out. We're going to do 3 quick examples. Whenever you're plotting on the graph, you always want to start at the origin, okay? The origin is 0, 0, where you see the blue dot. So start at the origin, then plot 3, 2. Go ahead and pause this video and try before I explain. Alrighty, I'm about to explain in 3, 2, 1. All right, so here we have it. This is where your point should be. First things first is we have a positive and a positive, so we know that our point should be in quadrant 1. So looking at our x was 3 and our y was 2. So that means I'm going to start at the origin. I'm going to go to the right to the number 3, and then I'm going to go up to the number 2. And then I'm going to put my point. You're not putting 2 points here. You're only putting a point after you move left or right and up or down. Alrighty, next example. Once again, start at the origin, then plot -3, 1. Go ahead and pause this video and try before I explain. Alrighty, I'm about to explain in 3, 2, 1. Here is the point. So we said we need to plot -3, 1. So starting at the origin in the middle, I'm going to go to the left this time because we need to go to -3 and our negative numbers are on the left. And then I'm going to go up 1 because we are plotting a positive number and our positive numbers are up. Then I'm going to put my point there. Therefore, my point should be plotted in quadrant 2 because we have a negative and a positive. Alrighty, last example. This time we have double negatives. Starting at the origin, plot -2, -2. Go ahead and pause this video and try it before I explain. I'm going to explain in 3, 2, 1. Awesome. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go left to the -2, and then we're going to go down to the -2 on the y-axis because our x was -2 and our y was also -2. So we're going to go left and down. So therefore, our point is plotted in quadrant 3. Awesome job. Where will you use this in real life? This is a really famous question that students like to understand, and I like to explain. So here's where you're going to use the coordinate plane. First, GPS and maps. Locations use coordinates. If you've ever been driving somewhere and your parents told you to look up how far this is or where do you want to go, they're using the coordinate plane. City grids, how your city is laid out. You might have a park 100 feet and 2 feet to the right. That's a coordinate plane. Video games. If you play anything like Call of Duty, Fortnite, even Animal Crossing, any video game that has a map is using a coordinate plane because you have to get your character to a certain point in order to achieve or pass the level in video games. That's all coordinate plane. If you're into architecture and engineering or designing structures and getting straight lines, you're using a coordinate plane because you have to draw straight lines. And last but not least, data graphs. So if you're tracking your money to see how much money you have from this month to that month, how much allowance you got from this day to that day, if you're tracking the temperature, okay, this week is going to be 50 degrees, next week is going to be 70 degrees, or if you're tracking any type of growth, that is all being tracked on a coordinate plane. Okay? So when we use this in real life, you're already using this in real life in most of the things that you do. So that's the end of the video. Be sure to subscribe, like this video, and come back for more learning made clear. Bye, scholars!